Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for today's webinar hosted by Cosvox. My name is Noah Barnett and I run marketing here at Cosvox, and I'm excited that so many of you are joining us for today's conversation around Giving Tuesday and how do you actually effectively promote your Giving Tuesday campaign. There's so much discussion around Giving Tuesday about participating in Giving Tuesday and making sure you're signed up for Giving Tuesday, or really creating a plan or setting a goal. However, one of the things that we see a lot of organizations underinvest in is around promoting their campaign. Giving Tuesday is an opportunity that presents a lot of value for nonprofits who engage with the campaign and really plan well for Giving Tuesday. However, many organizations are disappointed with the results. And typically when we dig in, and we've been helping organizations here at Cosvox run their Giving Tuesday campaigns for many years now. And the thing that we see missing is either one of two things. They either didn't plan well or they didn't have an effective promotion strategy. And so we're going to be talking all about that over the course of the next 45 minutes. And we're going to be digging into best practices and tips and tactics on how you can effectively promote your Giving Tuesday campaign. Before we dive in, since we're going to be spending a little bit of time together today, I know many of you are familiar faces and have been on the webinar before, but if not, it's your first time and you're like, who is this guy talking to us? Like I said, my name is Noah Barnett. I'm a husband and father to 3 boys. These are my 3 sons here. The furthest one is our youngest, of course. His name is also Noah, and this is how he takes every photo. This is unplanned. He just decided that he wasn't going to participate. And so that's just a reflection of his personality. I've been doing fundraising for about 10 years now. I actually spent 6 years as an operator running growth, which is kind of like fundraising and communications at a humanitarian nonprofit. I lead marketing here at Cosvox, and I was actually a Cosvox customer for 5 years before joining the team. Cosvox has been around since 2010, and I joined the team 2 years ago after being a customer because I believed in helping other nonprofits streamline and grow their fundraising. For those that don't know who Cosvox is, we're a community-driven fundraising platform that's designed specifically for nonprofits. We help you simplify and grow fundraising campaigns like Giving Tuesday, or things like peer-to-peer fundraising, annual fund campaigns, capital projects, really focusing on this idea that we want you to help you design campaigns that reflect your organization's brand and helps you build trust and loyalty with your supporters. One of the biggest aspects of growth from my personal experience is this idea of how do we retain and grow our relationship with supporters over time. And so it's really important as you do online fundraising, as you take donations online, that these assets or these kind of collateral for your fundraising really represent you. But not only that, that you can do this yourself. And so Cosvox is really designed to help you build beautiful branded campaigns, donation pages that are designed for you, but without all the tech skills and code. We also have a fundraising CRM that's built in, so we help you really easily organize and track all your fundraising and your supporters all in one place. Fundamentally, we believe that together is better. And so not only helping you streamline your fundraising and rally your community of supporters so that together you can make the change in the world that you're fighting for, but also that you have all of the tools you need as a small fundraising team in one place. And that's really what Cosvox is all about. But fundamentally, what really drives Rob and Jeff to start Cosvox and still is kind of the pulse of the organization today is that we fundamentally believe that together we can help good flourish. And in a world that's full of conflict and kind of two-sided conversations where no one's listening to each other, I think this message and this belief is so important, especially as fundraisers, as we look to bring people together to fight for a change in our world. And that idea of together is really how we can help good flourish in our world. And it's something we fundamentally believe here at Cosvox. And as part of that, we focus on not only just providing fundraising tools, but we really want to focus on giving you not just the tools, but also the best practices and tips. So many of you have probably come to this webinar because you found our Giving Tuesday planning guides, you found our email templates for Giving Tuesday, you've attended previous webinars, or maybe you're already a CosVox customer and you've been able to benefit from kind of all of these types of things. But either way, it's really important for us to not only just equip you with the tools, but also the education. And so today we're going to be diving in very, very deep, not on specifically CosVox, but how you can effectively promote your Giving Tuesday campaign, regardless of how you're organizing and managing it this year. Here's a little quick roadmap that kind of showcases where we're headed for today's conversation. We're going to take a few minutes really just to talk about the Giving Tuesday essentials. The majority of the conversation today is going to be all around promotion and how do you promote your campaign. But I think first and foremost, before we talk about promotion, we need to make sure that we have the essentials of Giving Tuesday down. What are the key things you and your organization need to have to be able to really effectively run a fundraising campaign? So we're going to start there, then we're going to dive in some best practices. These are going to be really important as you devise any type of promotion strategy. So these are going to be some key tenets that you can really hold on to as you promote through email, promote through social media, maybe doing events or even like word of mouth promotion around Giving Tuesday. Then we're going to spend the rest of our time really talking about specific tactics and strategies for how you can promote through email, word of mouth, and then also social media. And then for those that are interested, we're going to be having Rob Wu, who's the CEO of CosVox, and he's going to come on and show you how organizations have actually implemented this using the CosVox platform. And so that's going to be towards the end of the conversation. And if you're interested, you can stick around. He's going to demo this in 10 minutes just to show you how easy it is for you to use CosVox to run your Giving Tuesday campaign. And then at the end of today's conversation, we want to make sure that we answer your questions. And so if you have any questions throughout today's presentation, feel free to drop them in the questions pane of GoToWebinar, and we're going to answer those at the end of the conversation today. So let's just dive in. As I mentioned, Giving Tuesday is a global giving movement that has really been built by individuals, families, organizations, and businesses and communities in countries around the world. This is a global movement that's not just for nonprofits, but fundamentally is really about us as people expressing our generosity and our support for the causes that matter most. And what that really means for us as fundraisers at nonprofits is that it's our opportunity to offer our supporters and those that care about the cause that we're working on to express their generosity in support of your organization's efforts. But at the end of the day, it's really about giving and showcasing generosity by individuals. And so it's good to remember that as you're promoting your campaign, how can you weave some of that messaging into your communications? So not just to say, it's Giving Tuesday, donate now, but rather it's Giving Tuesday, which is a global movement showcasing generosity in a world that is shattered. Support our organization as we come together to make a change in our world for the better. And this global movement has continued to grow year over year. Last year alone, there was 2.5 million gifts. And so if you're still on the fence about participating in Giving Tuesday or why you would want to participate in this, it really is, I think it's the third largest giving day or second largest giving day of the entire year, second to the last days of the charitable giving year, which is December 30th and 31st. So it's a huge opportunity for nonprofits really to get involved and tap into kind of this growing movement around the world. There was $300 million raised last year. And so this isn't just about participating, but this really has a financial benefit to it and something that you and your organization, if you plan well and promote well, can really tap into and kind of make it a part of your organization's kind of ethos and how you bring people together to fight for the change that you're working on in our world. So like I mentioned, I want to spend just a few minutes thinking about what are the essentials of a Giving Tuesday campaign. We've spent a lot of time over the past 3 months really diving into this and other trainings. And so if you're interested in kind of a deep dive into the planning and essentials process, I'll include a link to those other webinars in my follow-up email that I send you this afternoon. But to quickly summarize, there's 3 things that you need to make sure that you run. Or there's 4 things, sorry. There's 4 things, but there's 3 main things outside of promotion that are essential as you think about your Giving Tuesday campaign. The first is that you want to make sure that you have a specific Giving Tuesday goal. This can be really anything as it relates to bringing people together to work on whatever the cause or effort that your organization is working on. And so this doesn't have to just be financial. There's many other organizations that use Giving Tuesday as an opportunity to drive volunteers, as an opportunity to drive gifts in kind, as an opportunity to even just show up as an advocacy movement and say, hey, we're a part of this. And so their goals are going to be less financial, and they're going to be more about how do we activate or rally enough people to get involved with our organization on Giving Tuesday. For the majority of organizations, though, this is going to be a financial goal. And that financial goal really shouldn't just be a number that your team just picks out of nowhere, but how do you make sure that you not only pick a financial goal, so whether that's 5,000 or 50,000, but you assign that to a level of impact. So why does this goal actually matter? What happens if we're able to raise this? And so being very specific about your goals is essential. The second thing that you have to run an effective Giving Tuesday campaign is a clear and compelling fundraising appeal. And what this means is that just because it's Giving Tuesday that's not enough of a fundraising appeal. And so your organization needs to think, we are participating in Giving Tuesday and we're bringing people together to raise $5,000 or $50,000 on Giving Tuesday, but to what ends? Giving Tuesday alone can't be the fundraising appeal. And so it's essential that your appeal communicates what you're trying to accomplish on Giving Tuesday, why that matters, and what the impact will be if we're successful. If everyone comes together on Giving Tuesday that you're reaching out to, and you guys reach that $2,000 goal or $14,000 goal or $65,000 goal like some of you shared, what happens? And if you don't, what also does that mean? And so this is going to be important as you promote your campaign, because you'll have a clear goal and you'll have a clear appeal which outlines why that goal matters and what you and your supporters and community of supporters of your organization, donors, and even just the audience or kind of participants, members, whoever you're reaching out to, understands what you're trying to accomplish. The third essential thing that you need to be effective on Giving Tuesday is a clear and dedicated place which you're showcasing these. And so this could be a fundraising site, like you can use CosVox to create. This could be a dedicated donation page that you can create on your website. This could be a dedicated landing page on your website. Or like I said, other organizations choose to have an online fundraising site. But the thing that's so important, and this is also a step that's really skipped often, is that you have to have a central place that you're showcasing your goal and your fundraising appeal, and you're able to send all of your promotion, all your fundraising efforts, all your promotion back to a central location where people can actually get involved. And so in many of your cases, it's going to be a place where people can donate. And the organizations that raise more money are the organizations that have a dedicated place that they're sending people for Giving Tuesday that outlines what they're trying to accomplish as a part of Giving Tuesday. And so our customers here at CosVox do this with CosVox and create a very simple fundraising site that showcases their goal and the progress towards that goal and kind of the countdown clock. It also shows all the donors that got involved. But others might choose to do this on their website or through their donation page builder. Whatever it is, having a dedicated page that showcases what your goal is and why that goal matters is going to be essential as you promote your page or promote your campaign. And this dedicated place will tell your story, it shows real-time progress, and it builds social proof and really invites others to get involved. And so the other thing about this is that Giving Tuesday is not just about giving or individuals transacting with your organization, but it's also them promoting and showcasing that they're a supporter of your organization. And so a dedicated place that you're highlighting your campaign also gives them a tool that they can share out, which ultimately helps you promote your campaign, which we'll talk a little bit about in a second. So 3 essentials. What is the goal? Why does that goal matter? What's the appeal or the fundraising effort? Like, what is the story behind that goal? And then having a dedicated fundraising site or donation page that is the place where people can actually get involved with your organization on Giving Tuesday. There's two other extras that are important, so I wanted to give them of note. The first one is a fundraising video, and this doesn't have to be a high quality production video, but just a video that kind of quickly showcases what your goal is, why that matters, and you can put this on your fundraising website. We see organizations that use video, especially in today's world where video is one of the most preferred kind of mediums of consumption, perform better because they can quickly showcase what they're trying to accomplish and what they're looking to do. So this could be a high-end video that you have that really showcases that, or it could just be you or the founder of your organization or the executive director sharing on an iPhone video or a smartphone video that's just sharing why people should get involved and how together you are going to make a difference on Giving Tuesday. The second thing that's really valuable, but it's not necessary, is a matching gift. And so the great thing about Giving Tuesday is it's a 24-hour giving campaign. So it's very confined in its scope. But one way to build additional urgency is by offering an incentive for people to give during that 24-hour period of time. And so when I was running fundraising for an organization, we used matching gifts that we would bring together for major donors. So donors that had already committed to giving to our organization during year end, we asked if we could use those gifts in a different and interesting way to challenge others on Giving Tuesday to get involved. There's a lot of other ways to get matching gifts, like from other community foundations, community organizations that are saying, hey, organizations are community, we're going to match those donations, corporate sponsors. Getting creative on how you can get a matching gift is going to ultimately help you drive additional impact in your campaign. Again, it's not essential, but it's going to help you build momentum throughout your Giving Tuesday campaign. And so one of the pro tips before we dive into some of these best practices, because these are actually all essential for promoting your campaign well, is that without the basics or these essential items that we talked about, fundraising goal, fundraising appeal, fundraising website, dedicated for Giving Tuesday, your campaign will get lost in the noise because you won't have a clear goal. You won't have a clear reason why you're raising that money. You're just going to be like everybody else saying, it's Giving Tuesday, support our cause. And that's not going to be good enough. And so it's really important that you have these essentials because that's what's going to drive the most impact for you. And so they're basics: setting a goal, why that goal matters, having a fundraising site or dedicated donation page. They're very simple things, but they're often overlooked. And so everything we're going to talk about with promotion is only as important as getting these basics down and making sure that you have these so that when we go out to promote, your message won't get lost in the noise. So what does it look like? What are some of the best practices that you can keep in mind as you promote your campaign on Giving Tuesday? I came up with 5, and these 5 best practices are not specifically for Giving Tuesday, but rather things that you can keep in mind for any of your fundraising campaigns. Or if you're using Giving Tuesday as a launch pad for your year-end campaign or other types of campaigns that you're going to run during the next 2 or 3 months, these best practices will still stand. So the first one the first thing that is important is to know what you're trying to actually accomplish. Like when you're promoting your fundraising campaign, what is it all about? And I love this quote by the founder of Save the Children, where she says, our job as fundraisers is that we have to devise a means of making known the facts in such a way as to touch the imagination of the world. The world is not ungenerous, but unimaginative and very busy. Our jobs as fundraisers are making known the facts, like why does your organization exist? What are you trying to accomplish? In a way that it touches the imagination of our audience that we're reaching out to. And so all of the things that I'm going to share really point back to this key tenet that she got right over 125 years ago. So the first best practice in any type of promotion campaign is that you need to be personal. And what this really looks like is you need to be sure that you're segmenting your community of supporters. And you're not just speaking out to a large audience as though everyone's sitting in a room waiting for you to speak, but rather segmenting your community or your community of supporters in a way that you can speak to them or promote your campaign to them in a way that's contextual. And this will ensure that your messages are better received and don't feel as though you're just trying to interrupt or steal my attention, because you're meeting me at where I am and you're bringing me along and kind of informing me of how I can get involved. And so as you're writing emails or even social media posts or talking to people in person, if you're doing any offline events for Giving Tuesday, it's important to make sure you maintain a personal tone. Giving Tuesday is about individuals coming together to showcase their generosity by supporting organizations that they care and love. And so being sure that you're speaking in a very personal tone is going to help you drive more impact on Giving Tuesday. The second thing is that as you define your goal, so maybe you're raising $5,000, and the reason you're trying to raise that is you're going to help serve 10 additional families in your communities by providing a month worth of shelter and food and clothing for those families. So that's your goal and that's your fundraising appeal. And the best way to promote your campaign is by sharing stories. Stories are what connect us, and stories are also able to be shared through a variety of mediums. So whether you're emailing out supporters on Giving Tuesday or you're sharing on social media, encouraging others to share, stories are going to be the best vehicle for you to actually promote your campaign. And so identifying one story that you could share that relates back to your goal and back to your fundraising appeal is really going to be helpful. The last thing that's important about stories is it's going to give your supporters, those that love and care about your organization, something they can share as well. And that really digs into our fourth point, which I'll share in a minute. But if you share your Giving Tuesday appeal in the form of a story, it's more likely to be shared by others onto their friends, family, and community. And so stories are easier for us to share with others than kind of straight up facts and statistics. And so if your goal, like I mentioned, is to raise $5,000 to help 10 new families, sharing stories about a family that has been served by your organization or a student that has received a scholarship or additional training, sharing the story is going to be helpful to kind of showcase why this actually matters and draw more people in to support your organization. And that's going to be very different from the majority of organizations that are just saying, it's Giving Tuesday, support our cause because we're doing a good thing. Being specific in the form of a story is going to really help your campaign stand out. The third best practice is that you want to make sure that you're using multiple channels to promote your campaign. And so even though Giving Tuesday, represented by the hashtag, was originally started as kind of a social media movement, and in the early years, that's how it really picked up steam. As it's evolved and as it's grown, it's not just a social media campaign anymore. And the organizations we see drive the most success are ones that are using other forms of communication outside of social media to share about their campaign throughout Giving Tuesday. And so again, this is important to understand because it's going to put Giving Tuesday into a category where you're not just crafting a social media fundraising campaign, but rather how do you use email to send out an email to your supporters? How do you use social media to share your story? Are there other ways that you communicate, whether it's on your website or through offline engagements? Or if you have a physical location, like for example, a YMCA or a food bank or some other type of community service nonprofit, how are you going to be communicating about Giving Tuesday as people are coming in and out of your doors? How do you make sure that you're providing a consistent message across all of those and not isolating your promotion to one specific channel? And so the reason it's multi-channel single message is that you want to be able to communicate through multiple channels. It's going to allow you to reach more people, but also make sure it's a single message. So if I'm coming into your location or seeing your communication via email, it's through different channels, but I'm still receiving one single message. And again, that's coming back to your goal, your fundraising appeal, and what do you want me to do as a part of this campaign. The fourth best practice is that you want to make sure you express the humanity of your organization. And this could be as simple as making sure that when you're writing your emails or your social media posts, or you're sharing with your staff about Giving Tuesday, that how we want to talk about our campaign is in a human way. It's about me, Noah, coming together with others in our community to fight for change in a way that I desire and I care about. So how can you make sure that you're expressing that through your communication? So this is ensuring that you keep your communication one-to-one. And as we talk about email promotion in just a few minutes, how do you actually send emails from a real person to your community? Even though you're sending one to many, it still gives a different feeling when I send an email from Noah to Donna, who's on this webinar, and invite her to participate in this webinar. I'm writing it as though I'm only speaking to Donna. Or Jim, who's also on this webinar, I'm writing my email only to Jim. Even though I'm sending it out to a lot of different individuals, I'm writing it in a way that's empathetic and is designed to really showcase that we are coming together as humans to participate in this webinar today. And you can do the same thing in your Giving Tuesday communication. So you can send out emails from your executive director or your director of development, or if you're the sole fundraiser, instead of sending it out from your organization's name, just sending it out from you and writing it as though you're sending it to one person. All these things are key. I love this quote by David Ogilvy, who is kind of the founder of advertising and really high value advertising. He says, as you write, do not, however, address your readers as though they were gathered together in a stadium. When people read your copy, this could be emails, social media posts, any types of flyers or physical communications that you have, they are alone. And pretend you are writing each of them a letter on behalf of your client. In your case, is your organization, one human being to another, second person, singular. This is going to change the game on your communication, not just for Giving Tuesday, but for all of your communication that you send out from your organization for fundraising. The last best practice is really capturing the heart of Giving Tuesday. It's a global movement of individuals coming together to showcase their generosity to the causes they support and love. And so as you communicate, how do you make sure you maintain that ethos in your communication? That you're not making it all about a transaction. You're not making it all about just giving to your organization in a way that kind of takes away this idea that we're coming together to express our generosity together on that day. And so using Together We as a part of your communication is going to be really powerful. And this also goes back to what you may even ask your supporters to do. And so a lot of times we do want to jump straight as fundraisers to making an ask for money. So we're saying, hey, get involved. It's Giving Tuesday. Together we can help 10 families. Donate now. But in other cases, as we'll discuss in just a few moments, it might be better for you to ask your current donors to not give, but rather to share out a story that you wrote about a family that your organization's helped, or a child, or a person in the community, or how the community has changed because of the presence of your art gallery. Whatever it is, it might be better for you to ask them to share that out as part of the Giving Tuesday campaign rather than asking them to give directly. There'll be an opportunity for you to ask them to give. And if we look at some of the statistics, people that are engaged with an organization when asked to share or to volunteer are much more likely by tenfold to actually support the cause as well. Oops. So this is just a last quote. Rob Wu is going to be joining us. He's the CEO here at CauseVox in just a few minutes as well. But he has this quote where he says, today supporters are hyper-connected, live inside personal feeds, and discover and support causes recommended by their friends, and desire to be a part of the change, not merely give to it. And so I would just encourage you and kind of leave this with you as well as you think about how you're promoting your campaign, ensuring that you're asking people to be a part of what you're trying to accomplish, not merely give to it. And so if you're more of a tactical person and some of these things are kind of just more high in the sky, or, okay, I understand these themes that we should keep in mind, we're going to now dig into kind of just nuts and bolts practical tips on how you can leverage various channels. And so to kick us off, what I wanted to do is just provide a sample promotion timeline that gives you kind of just like a quick snapshot of what your promotion could look like as well. So November 12th, you're launching your Giving Tuesday campaign or site. This is the dedicated place we talked about in the essentials side of it that's showcasing your goal and showcasing what you're trying to accomplish. And so you're launching this ahead of time. And the reason you're doing that is because you want people to start becoming aware of this prior to the day of giving. And so Giving Tuesday, even though it is a 24-hour time frame, you don't want to just surprise people by announcing you're participating or that people can get involved on Giving Tuesday only on Giving Tuesday. You can lead up to this. And this is another tactic that's going to be really helpful as you look for ways to drive further response. Or if you're a new organization and maybe you thought it was just, oh, I only promote this during 24 hours, it's important to kind of see that this is actually a sample timeline of exactly what I did when I was running a Giving Tuesday campaign for a nonprofit. You start early, you slowly ramp up, and then you begin promoting this as well. And so we're going to dive through some of these details in the next few slides. So the first channel we're going to dig into is email marketing. So email is one of those channels that, as much as everyone says they don't appreciate email or they feel like they get too much email, it's still one of the more powerful fundraising channels that you and your organization can leverage. I believe 2 years ago, every dollar that was invested in email marketing or email campaigns and fundraising had somewhat of a 3x return. And so even though there's talk of email being dead or email fading out, email is still one of those things that no matter what kind of generation you talk to or various, especially from millennials up, they still engage with email in some capacity, and it's still a very powerful way to engage with your supporters on Giving Tuesday. So there's a few essentials that you want to keep in mind as you're writing emails for Giving Tuesday. And we actually have some email templates you can grab, and I'm going to send those out to you in the follow-up email, where we actually wrote the emails for you, or at least provided a framework template that you can use for the various email communications that you're going to send throughout your campaign. But the essentials here are you want to make sure that you have a greeting and you personalize it. Anytime you're sending out communication, you want to get personal and you want to make sure it's human. So it's important to address the person directly that you're sending this out to. You also want to write to them as though it's one person. And you're going to present a clear overview of what's going on and why they should get involved. And then one of the tricks that I actually learned late in my fundraising career was that you want to ensure that each communication that you send out via email has a single call to action. There's a lot of different things you might want to ask supporters to do. However, with email, it's essential to see email as the channel that you use to get someone from their inbox to your dedicated fundraising site or your donation page that you have set up for Giving Tuesday. And not that you have to accomplish everything. So the purpose of your email is to get someone from their inbox to a dedicated page where you're going to engage them further and give them more opportunities to get involved. That's why that single call to action is so key. So there's 4 different elements of a successful promotional email. The first is email targeting. We already talked a little bit about this when we shared about segmentation in the Get Personal best practice. So when you're sending out emails, it's really important to make sure that you segment your supporter base. So if you have individuals that have supported your organization in the past, you want to make sure that you're expressing that and kind of communicating to them in a different way. If you have individuals that have only given to you once ever, or only attended an event, or haven't given to you in 24 months, you might want to communicate in a different way to them. It does put a little bit more work onto you as an organization because you do have to write different versions of your email copy. However, it's going to drive more results. And so the response rates that you'll see when you segment and write more personally to your audiences based on the context of the relationship you have with those individuals, you're going to see an increase in your response rates and retention rates of your supporters. So email targeting is key. The second element of a successful promotional email is the subject line. So I already mentioned that the purpose of an email is to get someone from their inbox to your dedicated fundraising site for Giving Tuesday. Well, the purpose of your subject line is to even get someone to open the email. And so as you've probably all done already today, or you will do many times, is you'll look at your inbox and see a bunch of new unread emails. And the thing that our brain does is it tries to cut down as much noise as possible because we want our minds try to work to make things simple, or as simple as possible. And so when we're looking at our inbox, there's only a few things that we see. And so as you're sending out emails on Giving Tuesday, it's important that you leverage these things to actually even get someone to open your emails. And so it's the first thing your audience sees. And so there's some best practices in how you can do that. The first is you want to keep it short, not use capital letters. It's great if you pose a question. Our brain naturally says someone asked us a question, so we need to respond to that. And you can even add the donor's name into your subject line if your email marketing software allows you to do that. And then the last thing I didn't put on here, but is super important, and I've seen this both when I was working in fundraising, but also just in our work here at CosVox as we communicate with you and our audience, is that you should send your emails from a real person. And so if your organization has never done that before, I would just highly encourage you to see how you could send an email from a real person's name. So in this case, this organization, World Help, they send it from their founder's name. And again, our minds are looking for ways to weed out information. And so if we see a brand or an institution's name, we know that that's an entity trying to communicate with us rather than a person. And we're more likely to prioritize based on a person asking us a question or sending us a message rather than an entity. And so using a person's name when you're sending out emails is really key. The third aspect of an email that you want to keep in mind is the content. And so this is where you, again, want to drive a response. How are you going to get someone from their inbox to a dedicated fundraising site or donation page to either take an action, read a story, share the campaign, make a donation? All of these things are a lot of work on the receiver's end. And they may have not been expecting that. And so your email copy needs to give them a reason why they should stop what they're currently doing, which is trying to get to inbox 0 and move over and share more or learn more about what your campaign's all about and how they can be a part of that. So again, keeping in mind, how do you keep it personal? How do you make sure that you're not just saying what they should do, but why they should do it? And communicating this idea that together we're going to accomplish something big, even if it's something small in the grand scheme of things, but being clear on why someone should get involved or why someone should be a part of this and how they are essential in making that happen is going to help you drive more results. And again, the call to action, being very clear with the call to action, not trying to be clever or tricky, but just being very clear with a single call to action that says, hey, this is what we want you to do. We want you to click here. We tend to want to give multiple outs because we're like, well, what if they don't want to take that one action? However, as we increase choices, we actually decrease response rates. And so if we give one choice and say, here, this is what we want you to do, they choose not to do that, that's great, that's no problem. But people are more likely to do the one thing that's being asked of them rather than just giving them options. They can just opt out at that point because they're not sure which one they should do. And so being as clear as possible in your emails is essential. The next thing is word of mouth. How do you tap into your supporters' relationships? One of the things that we see is that Giving Tuesday should really be about your supporters showcasing their generosity. And so the thing your organization has the opportunity to do is really to tap into the influence of your current donors and those that love your organization. And so a lot of times we see this as, oh, that means they share it online or on their social media accounts. Well, our donors don't really do social media, or they don't really do email, or they don't do any of that stuff. And so we're just going to ask them to give. That's all they want to do is just give. And what we see when we look at the research is that only about 7% of word of mouth happens online. Most word of mouth actually happens offline. And so when there's this discussion about influence-based fundraising or even peer-to-peer fundraising, we tend to kind of say, oh, that's a millennial thing, or that's a social media thing, or that's an online thing. However, a lot of what we learn about and hear about and make decisions off of are the conversations that we actually have offline. So even if you have an audience that is more offline than online, you still have an opportunity to tap into them as an influencer onto others and encourage others to give and support your organization's cause. And so the question becomes is, how do you actually do that? or why should you actually do that? Like, what's so important? Why don't I just ask them to give? And I think the biggest thing that we've seen, especially in today's connected economy, is that there's a huge decrease of trust in institutions of all types. And that includes your nonprofit. And not because your nonprofit did anything or really deserved that. There's just a kind of a cultural reference right now where institutions have less trust. But there's an increased trust in other people, especially like-minded community, friends, or families. And so how people are actually discovering, researching, and making purchase decisions are based on referrals and recommendations from their friends. I have not gone to a restaurant in probably 3 years that I didn't look up recommendations and referrals on or ask my community their opinion of prior to going there. And so it has nothing to do with what the organization or what the restaurant said about themselves, but rather about what others' experiences were with that and whether they would recommend it or not. The same thing has happened in the past 30 days with organizations. I've learned about so many different organizations because my friends or those that I trust or look up to in my circles of influence are sharing about organizations that they're supporting. Maybe it's about getting the vote out. Maybe it's about supporting hurricane relief with all of the natural disasters we've had. All of these things I'm learning about and learning about the organizations that are behind those efforts from my friends and family. And so as you think about promoting your Giving Tuesday campaign, you can also think about how do we tap into the influence of our current donors and get them to share about our cause with their networks, whether it's online or offline. And so one of the great ways to do this is through peer-to-peer fundraising. And this is something we spend a lot of time here at CosVox helping organizations with. They use our platform to empower their supporters or their donors to create personal fundraising pages that they can then share out with their friends, family, and community. And peer-to-peer is really just a great engagement opportunity. So instead of always asking your supporters to give or just give on Giving Tuesday, you can actually ask them to fundraise on your behalf and raise money for your organization. And what we see is that organizations that use peer-to-peer or personal recommendation or personal fundraising pages, in addition to their own kind of organizational fundraising efforts, raise twice as much than traditional campaigns. And so this is kind of how our culture is discovering and learning about causes. And so as part of your Giving Tuesday campaign, it may make sense for you to encourage people to create fundraising pages on your behalf rather than just always asking them to give, because that will lead to deeper engagement with that individual, but also encourage them to inspire other donors to learn about your organization, which gives you the opportunity as a fundraiser to build new relationships with supporters. So the last area we're going to talk about is social media. And so social media is a great opportunity for you to amplify your campaigns. However, what we've seen is that brands have this decreasing reach on sites like Facebook and other online media. And so we're always asked the same question is like, what should nonprofits do? They've seen their reach drop. They try to communicate through Facebook, but it just doesn't seem like it's worth it anymore. And what we encourage our customers here at CosVox to do is to think not about how they can share information out from their branded pages, but how do they, again, look for ways to encourage or equip their donors or supporters or volunteers to actually share out the message as well. And so what we see is when you design social media posts to actually be shared rather than just responded to, you give people something that they can actually share on with their friends and family. And so this is really important on Giving Tuesday. And so again, it goes back to this idea of how do you share stories on social media or links to stories so that people can go back to your dedicated page and support your cause. But not only that, so then I, as a supporter of your organization, can share that out with others. So things like photos, things like videos, stories, all of those types of posts are going to increase the shares and the engagement that you're going to have on those posts. You might not get the reach that you were seeing 12 months ago, like organically through the posts that you're sharing with your Facebook community. However, the more shares that you get, the more likely you're going to increase the overall reach of anything that you share out and ultimately increase the response, that you're going to have on Giving Tuesday. And so when you share on social media, you should be sharing things with the expectation that you want them to be shared on. And so our pro tip for social media is really just to make sure you're equipping your supporters to share instead of just promoting yourself. And so give someone a reason that they're going to want to share this back out with their friends and family. And that's what comes back to stories, photos, and videos. Those are what are going to drive the highest impact on social media. There's a few other opportunities for promotion that I just want to mention because they're only fit for some organizations. But I think they are great opportunities for you to boost your results on Giving Tuesday. The first is offline events. And so we've seen a lot of organizations move on Giving Tuesday to not just doing online campaigns, but rather combining their online campaigns with offline events. And so this could look like a simple open house at your offices and invite people to come in throughout the day to meet your staff, see the work that you're doing if you have the ability to do that. Or one organization partnered with a local business and hosted a meetup throughout the day and then broadcast it live on Facebook throughout the day of all the different people that support the organization coming and going through the cafe just to meet the team again, hear the stories about the impact, and give people a way to connect with others. And so it's not just about an online coming together, but also offline, bringing people together in support of your cause as a part of Giving Tuesday. The last thing is partnerships. There's a great opportunity on Giving Tuesday to actually connect up with for-profit and other nonprofits in your community to help promote your campaigns collectively rather than individually. And so the big thing about Giving Tuesday as well is it's not just about, oh, well, we're competing for attention, but there's a lot of synergy in actually making this more about community rather than competition. You're going to get better press and you're going to get a higher response collectively for your campaign. So if you work regularly with other organizations, it may be good to have a conversation with those organizations and see how you can actually combine your efforts on Giving Tuesday, still giving people the opportunity to donate to each of the individual causes. But from a promotion standpoint, how could you work together to help amplify what everybody is doing on Giving Tuesday? So a few final thoughts, and then, like I mentioned, Rob Wu, who's the CEO of Cosvox, is going to come on and give us kind of a demonstration of what this looks like. How do you actually bring this all together? What does it look like to showcase your goal and your fundraising appeal on a dedicated fundraising site? And why is that important? Why does that matter? But before we do that, and as Rob kind of gets set up, is some final thoughts. The biggest takeaways from today's presentation I hope you get is that it's important to make sure that you have the essentials nailed down over trying to do everything. So we talked through a lot of details today. However, all of those details aren't essential. And so it's important to make sure that you have the essentials of your Giving Tuesday campaign locked down. And then you can begin to explore what is the best promotion opportunities? How can we be the most personal, authentic? If we're not on social media already, trying to get involved in social media might not be the best way. Maybe we just focus on sending out emails to our community, inviting them to be a part of something. If you have a physical location, you typically communicate with your stakeholders or your audience through physical flyers. Do that. And so again, it's not about trying to do everything for Giving Tuesday. It's about doing the essentials right. The second thing is, again, the same thing. Keep things simple. Don't try to be overly strategic about this. Keep things simple, whether it's your goal, whether it's why you're doing it, how you're promoting this. Don't get into the complications of trying to maximize the opportunity in a bunch of different ways. You're more likely to kind of burn yourself out and do all of it all right, rather than doing a few things well. And then the other thing is making sure you're promoting together, that you're accomplishing something, not just it's your organization doing something and people should just give to you. And so together we're doing something, not just your organization. So those are just some final thoughts to keep in mind as you dig into your planning. And so now before we dig into Q&A, if you have other questions, feel free to drop those in the questions pane. I'm going to turn over to Rob, who's joined us. He's the CEO of Cosvox, and he's going to show you exactly how to bring this to life. Rob?
Thanks, Noah. Amazing presentation as usual. I think it's amazing where we have so many people on the webinar today, and Giving Tuesday is coming up, and some of these tactics that you shared, these strategies, I think can really help them raise more funds this year for Giving Tuesday as well as year-end fundraising. So thanks so much for that. In terms of the next steps today, I'd love to spend a few minutes just showing you how you can apply some of these strategies, as well as how you can apply some of these tactics into your Giving Tuesday campaign on CauseVox, as well as how you can really augment your fundraising for year end. After that, we'll have a Q&A session, so we'll be happy to walk through any questions that you have related to what we presented in terms of today, your unique situations, as well as how you can leverage CauseVox for your Giving Tuesday campaign. At CauseVox over here, we're an online fundraising platform for small fundraising teams. We're a community-driven fundraising platform that's really designed for you, and we firmly believe that together you can accomplish and raise more during Giving Tuesday. What we do with our platform is you can run multiple types of fundraising initiatives all in one place. What this really means is that for you guys, you can run a fundraising optimized Giving Tuesday campaign without having to depend on a designer or developer, without having to wrangle your marketing team, your IT person. You can just do this yourself within just a few minutes, and you can raise a lot of funds for the organization to meet its impact goals. We're purposely simple, meaning that you can easily design your Giving Tuesday initiatives without having to depend on a developer, without having to depend on anyone else except for yourself. So this is amazing where you can just do it yourself without having even to depend on your board for it. Really, what we really think about our platform is that because things need to be simple for your donors, the best way for us to help you accomplish that is by having an easy platform to use, not only for yourself, but also for your donors to improve conversion and also just to delight your donors as well. We're designed for you, meaning that as a small fundraising team, it's really hard to wrangle the resources that you need to launch a fundraising initiative. Because of that, we can allow you to easily stand out with your brand, as well as we allow you to easily change the look and feel of your Giving Tuesday campaigns to help build more trust and loyalty. And one of the things that Noah mentioned as well is that we're community driven, meaning that you can leverage peer-to-peer fundraising, personal pages, and team pages to acquire new donors. Organizations that use our platform, especially through our community-driven fundraising tools, raise twice as much. And you can definitely use this to stand out from the crowd in order to get more awareness as well as to convert more donors to your organization. And then very lastly, we're always here to help. So we matched best-in-class fundraising tools over here at CauseVox with a team of fundraising experts as well as technical experts so that you can get launched quickly, as well as when you're running Giving Tuesday on the day of, that if you do have any questions or need support, that you can easily attain that as fast as possible. Now, our platform is super easy to use, and you can use CauseVox for your Giving Tuesday campaign. So let's say you guys want to set one up. You can just log into CauseVox, create one of our free accounts. So after you log in, then you can easily just create and click on our new fundraising site button. And we actually have a Giving Tuesday campaign site template already pre-built. So this way you can easily create a Giving Tuesday campaign. All of our settings are optimized for Giving Tuesday, and we just make it really easy so that you don't have to really think about how to set up your CauseVox campaign. So we pre-fill this, you click continue, and then essentially we take you through a three-step process in order to create your Giving Tuesday campaign. So all you need to do is set a fundraising goal. We automatically set the end date for you, and of course you can adjust this based on time if you wanted to. So after you decided on that, we'll automatically pre-fill your Giving Tuesday campaign site with some branded colors. But what's great about this is that you can easily customize this as well. So let's say you have a specific video that you want to share. Then you can easily go in, you can embed that media, put it in, and then CauseVox, our system, will automatically embed it for you. Or let's say you want to put in your own logo. So you can easily just click that, find the logo that you want, and then you can call it a day. So super easy. And let's say you want to change some page background color so it better matches your branding, then you can easily do that as well. So super easy to use. We make this automatically tablet friendly as well as mobile friendly so that you can convert more donors. Within a few easy steps, you can easily create your Giving Tuesday campaign, and then from there, you can automatically set some of the settings over here as well in order to process donations. So within about 2 minutes, you're able to create your Giving Tuesday campaign on CosVox. It's fully optimized for Giving Tuesday. It's mobile friendly, as well as really designed for you and really easy to use. Now, if you're looking for some additional insights as well as steps in terms of launching your Giving Tuesday campaign, you can always sign up for one of our one-on-one demos, and we're more than happy to walk you through on how you can do that. Here's our Giving Tuesday page that we easily set up really quickly, and you can easily just go there if you want to. So let me just publish our changes. And voila, there you go. So we just created a Giving Tuesday campaign site in just a few minutes. In terms of next steps, let me take you to our website here. We do have plans that are fit for every size budget, as well as every size organization, including our free plan, which is really great for crowdfunding, as well as for Giving Tuesday campaigns. No monthly costs, no annual fees, just a platform fee, as well as more advanced tools for growing nonprofits that start at just $49 a month with a platform fee. We'll be happy to chat with you in more a one-on-one basis if you're interested in taking a deeper dive into CosVox for your Giving Tuesday campaign or for Giving Tuesday campaign or for year-end fundraising. So feel free to ping us. You can easily do that by clicking on the Get a Demo button over here, the orange one, and then they'll pop up, and then we can contact you directly, or you can always chat one in on the bottom right-hand corner through some of our messaging tools over here. Love to hand it back to Noah at this time.
Thanks, Rob. Really appreciate you giving us that information and kind of just showing how easy it is to be able to create a dedicated fundraising site for Giving Tuesday. As Rob mentioned, you are able to use our free plan to be able to create your Giving Tuesday fundraising site. And you can do exactly what Rob did in just a few minutes, really showcase your goal and build out a site that really mirrors your branding and helps build trust and loyalty between your supporters and your organization. If you have any other questions about using CosVox for that effort, you can go to cosvox.com and click on Get a Demo. We'd be happy to walk you through this. Or you can chat into the questions pane and we could dive into that as well. But outside of that, we want to spend the last few minutes we have together really answering some of the questions that individuals have been sending in throughout today's presentation. And so what I want to do is take a look at some of these. But if you have any questions, now's a great time to drop those in the questions pane, whether it's regarding some of the best practices we shared, maybe it's about email or social media or even peer-to-peer or word-of-mouth fundraising. Or if you have questions about CosVox's fundraising platform, you can drop those into the questions pane as well. And if you're not able to stick around for Q&A, this presentation has been being recorded, and we're going to be sending out, or I'm personally going to be sending it out, so you can look for that email this afternoon where you're going to get the recording, you're going to get the slides, and you're going to get all of our other Giving Tuesday materials. So 2 guides that give you best practices and advice as you dig into your campaign planning. We're also going to send you a webinar on how you can set up your campaign using CosVox, so a more detailed walkthrough that Rob did. And a webinar or a guide that really gives you templates for how you can send emails. And so all of that will be sent out to you later this afternoon. So look for that email from me in your inbox this afternoon. But let's dive into some of these questions. Julia Hickey says, what do you think about using an animated GIF of still images as opposed to a video for the homepage of the campaign? Julia, I think one of the things that's key is that any way that you can visually showcase what your organization is trying to accomplish, the better. And so if a GIF of kind of a collection of photos is what your organization can put together, and that's compelling or showcasing what your organization does, that's great. And I think it doesn't have to be a video, but what we do see is that video is something that people highly engage with, especially in today's kind of ecosystem that we live in. And so anything that you can do to have a video is great, but also any visuals are going to be key. So I think you'll be all set, Julia. Colleen says, how important is it to share the Giving Tuesday goal, progress meter, kind of thermometer on your dedicated fundraising site? One of the things that we see, especially on a day like Giving Tuesday, is it's so important to provide transparency into the progress towards your goal. And so by showcasing, hey, we're trying to raise $7,000 and we have $4,000 left, even if I've donated to your campaign and I've supported the effort, I now know that we haven't reached our goal. And so I can take ownership in that as well and help share the campaign, invite others to be a part of it, or even just share stories out or give more. What we see too is that a lot of people will give to a campaign in the morning and maybe come back in the afternoon and give a little bit more because they really want to help the causes that they're supporting on Giving Tuesday hit their goals. And so we see it as really important, especially on a giving day like Giving Tuesday with such a short timeline, to really give transparency into that. Raquel says, if we have a $10,000 matching gift, that's amazing that you were able to secure that. That's a great asset for Giving Tuesday. And we want to try to raise the other 10,000. What is the total goal that we should put on our campaign? 10,000 or 20,000? So Raquel, I think what's important is that your goal should reflect the total that you're looking to raise, which also will showcase the impact that you're trying to accomplish. And so because if you're successful, you're going to raise $20,000, I'd be sure to highlight that goal and what you can accomplish by hitting $20,000. One of the things about CauseVox is with matching gifts is as people donate, you can add in bits and pieces of that matching gift to match donations 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, however you see fit, so that the progress bar goes up 2 times every time someone donates. And so instead of dropping the donation in as a single donation and starting the campaign at 10,000, it really reflects that as people give, you can showcase that progress as well. And you can add all of that in our kind of easy to use backend tools. And so that's a great way that if you are using CauseVox for your campaign, you can showcase that matching gift as well. So Cheryl says, you mentioned 85% of people prefer being asked by a friend to donate. Are you saying these donors should give a testimony about our organization and what we have done? Then at another time we can ask. Cheryl, the great thing is that what peer-to-peer fundraising really helps you do is gives your supporters the ability to talk about why they support your cause and invite individuals to support your campaign as well. And so even though those individuals are giving because, or those new, like, so for example, if I was supporting your campaign, Cheryl, and I really love the work that you're doing, I could actually write up a why I find this organization valuable and why I support the campaign. And then I could invite my colleagues here at CauseVox, my friends here in the community, my faith community, and invite people to support the campaign or support the cause that I care about as well. And so similar to how I might write a restaurant review and say, everyone should go try this restaurant, and then people come to the restaurant, peer-to-peer fundraising works similarly, where you're enabling people to write up why they support the cause and then send that out to their friends, family, and community to help them or to raise money on your organization's behalf. And with CauseVox, you're able to see all of that donation and donor information. So even if 15 people gave to my campaign and it was on behalf of your organization, Cheryl, you would now have 15 new donors that you could begin to cultivate a relationship with. So it's a great way to reach new people and acquire new donors. Lorraine says, I participated in another workshop that said we should not publicize our organization's financial goal. One of the things that we see is that there's a lot of mixed conversations about whether you should publicly showcase your goal or not. I think in the case of Giving Tuesday, one of the things I've found successful, and this is just from my kind of practical experience, is that we would always try to raise anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 every Giving Tuesday. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to give transparency into what that goal was so that people knew exactly what we were trying to accomplish. And I think through being transparent, people could feel as though the campaign was more authentic. And that's something that's really important. And they could also take ownership and be a part of the campaign and not just give to it. I've given to a ton of organizations that say, hey, we're trying to raise money to do this thing. Like, will you be a part of it? And you give and you kind of don't know, like, is it going to that? When are you going to accomplish that? And it kind of goes into what donors refer to as like the black hole. And one of the biggest reasons we see of why or individuals don't give again to a nonprofit is because they feel as though they didn't know what their gift actually accomplished. And so to kind of speak to the goal part is that if we're very clear and open about what our goals are and what that goal is going to help us accomplish, we kind of already predefine that this individual is going to know what the impact is of their gift. And we're showcasing that authenticity up front. And so that's the value I see, especially on a 24-hour giving campaign where the timeline is so tight. Giving real-time progress into where you are in your goal, we see as essential. A lot of people are asking again about the PowerPoint slides. We're definitely going to be sharing that out following today's presentation. So you'll be receiving an email from me with a bunch of information, including the slides and the recording of today's presentation. Courtney asks, I'm thinking about combining Giving Tuesday with our year-end appeal. What do you think? And so one of the things that we see here is that organizations actually find a lot of success in doing that. We had an organization last year that very small organization, set out to raise $15,000, but they kicked off their campaign at the beginning of November. And then they ran their campaign through the end of December. But what they did was they came back on Giving Tuesday, which was kind of the halftime of their campaign, and helped and used that as kind of a momentum builder again. So they did a lot of fundraising for their campaign at the beginning of November. They kind of took off a little bit during the holidays and vacations here in the US for Thanksgiving. And then on Giving Tuesday, they came back and they actually announced a matching gift, which helped build more momentum around the campaign towards that mid period. But then they still continued to promote that campaign through the end of the year. And they were able to surpass their goal when they really thought it was a stretch goal. And so that's a great way to not only see Giving Tuesday as like this one-time thing, but you can actually just make it another day that you're promoting your overall fundraising goal for year end. So Courtney, I think you're onto something. And if you have any further questions about that, feel free to let me know and I can give you some more feedback on your specific campaign ideas. Happy to help. Lorraine says, will the slides include the sample timeline? Absolutely, it'll be included in there. You'll also be receiving a transcript and summary of these answers because you'll actually be able to hear the recording. So when you get to the recording, you'll be able to have that as well. And Terry and Lorraine, if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to email me back, noah@cosvox.com. I'd be happy to set up one-on-one time with you and answer any further questions. And that goes for everybody. If anyone has any further questions about Giving Tuesday, or really how do you promote your campaign, or if you're still like, I'm not sure if we should participate or be a part of this, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to have a quick conversation with you and talk through it with you. My email is noah@cosvox.com, and you can reach out to me at any time. That's all the questions I've rolled in today. I'm so grateful that so many have joined us and so many have stuck around. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. And again, we're just so excited to really cheer all of us on and kind of be a part of this Giving Day of Giving Tuesday. It's something that we love here at CosVox as a team, and we're excited to be a part of it again this year. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and I'll be sending that email to you in just an hour or so. So I'll talk to you then. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.